Have you ever had the experience of trying to please someone who just can't be satisfied? Have you ever felt as though you were constantly walking on eggshells? Today, I'm going to delve into a subject that several of you may find to be very relevant to your lives. Consider the following scenario: you are interacting with a person who, at first glance, appears to be flawless, but gradually their true nature begins to emerge. They are charming, but they have an eerie control over you. They are self-assured, but to the point where they approach arrogance. Narcissists are the subject of my discussion, yes. Those are the kinds of people who have the power to completely transform your life without you even being aware of it. In this video, I will not only discuss the characteristics of a narcissistic personality, but I will also provide you with real-world strategies that can be utilized to effectively deal with these characteristics. Understanding narcissism and learning how to deal with it is essential for your mental health and overall well-being, regardless of whether it occurs in your personal life, at work, or even within your inner circle of family. It is important to note that you are not alone if you have ever experienced feelings of being manipulated, underrated, or even gaslighted. This video is definitely for you. In this article, we will discuss how to regain your power and peace of mind in the face of narcissism. Stay tuned for more information. I would like to encourage you to subscribe to this channel, share it with others, and like this video before we delve into these life-changing strategies. The most important thing is to watch it from beginning to end without skipping any of the segments. This will ensure that you do not miss any important insights that could potentially make a significant difference in your life. Strategy 1. To be indifferent. This may appear to be a straightforward approach, but it is actually a powerful tool, particularly when dealing with narcissists. In the context of this discussion, indifference does not refer to a lack of concern or a lack of warmth. Rather, it refers to the decision to not allow the actions of a narcissist to determine your feelings and responses. A great Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor named Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This quote encapsulates the essence of Stoic indifference, which is to concentrate on what you can control, which is your thoughts and reactions. A narcissist is someone who must have attention and validation. You are essentially refusing to feed their ego when you engage in the practice of indifference, because you are not providing the response that they are looking for. This can be a very devastating blow to their confidence. On the other hand, how do you put this into practice in the real world? Changing one's mentality is the first step. You have to acknowledge that the actions of a narcissist are beyond your ability to influence, but that the way in which you react to those actions is entirely under your control. The advice that Epictetus provides is extremely helpful. In this regard, we should not worry about things that are beyond our ability to control. Always keep these words in mind whenever a narcissist makes an attempt to provoke you. You do not have to get involved in their drama or allow their words to disrupt the peace that you feel within yourself. Additionally, Seneca, another Stoic thinker, provides guidance that is applicable to this situation. He imparted knowledge on the significance of maintaining emotional fortitude. One of the tools that narcissists frequently employ is emotional manipulation. You can construct a defense system around your emotional well-being by engaging in the practice of Stoic indifference. The ability to observe their behavior without becoming involved in it is something you learn. Stoic indifference, in its most basic form, refers to the practice of preserving one's composure in the face of aggression. In order to avoid having your mental equilibrium disrupted by the actions of the narcissist, you must make a deliberate decision. Understanding that your emotional state is your domain and not theirs is essential to achieving this goal. Finding strength in tranquility is essential. When you take this approach, you are not only protecting yourself emotionally, but you are also removing the power that the narcissist has over you through this approach. Make sure you keep in mind that indifference is not the same thing as passivity, rather. It is a conscious decision to keep control over your emotional well-being. Strategy 2. Refusing to accept. When it comes to dealing with narcissists, this is a powerful tool that you bring to the table. It is about establishing boundaries and standing up for yourself, which is something that narcissists frequently attempt to undermine. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, is credited with saying, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." This is a quote that is absolutely applicable when you are refusing to give in to a narcissist. It is not just the act of refusing, it is also the statement that you are making about the autonomy and respect that you require for yourself. The decision that you are making is to not allow the demands of the narcissist to determine your actions and choices. You are taking a stand against the narcissist's ability to manipulate and control you when you say no to them. It is more than just a word. The narcissist is accustomed to getting what they want and manipulating others in order to fulfill their requirements. If you give them a firm refusal, you are directly challenging their sense of entitlement and control over the situation. Due to the fact that this disrupts the pattern that they have become accustomed to, it can be extremely disempowering for them. Epictetus helps us understand the significance of concentrating on the things that we are able to control. What you have control over in interactions with a narcissist is your ability to consent or refuse to participate in the interaction. When you say no, you are exercising this control and establishing a distinct boundary. This is consistent with the teachings of Epictetus, which state that our freedom is not in the events themselves, but rather in how we react to them. Seneca is another source of wisdom that can be utilized in this context. He emphasized the significance of remaining true to oneself and avoiding being influenced by the pressures that come from the outside. It is an act of personal integrity to refuse to fulfill the demands of a narcissist. It is about remaining true to your principles and not allowing the actions of another person to infringe upon your values. In other words, it is a declaration that you are not subject to their whims and that you have the power to decide what is acceptable in your life. Utilizing this act of defiance, which is rooted in Stoic wisdom, is an effective step in the process of dealing with narcissistic individuals. It is important to keep in mind that the refusal is not the only thing at play, rather, it is about consolidating your respect and dignity in the face of manipulation. Strategy 3. Make use of logic and facts. Through the establishment of interactions in reality and reason, this strategy presents a challenge to the emotional manipulations that are employed by narcissists. As the defining characteristic of humanity, Marcus Aurelius placed a strong emphasis on the significance of reason. He held the belief that what differentiates us from other people is our capacity to think in a logical and objective manner. You are engaging at a higher level of engagement with a narcissist when you communicate with them using logic and facts. Instead of playing their game of emotional manipulation, you are taking the conversation to a plane where they have less control. You are not playing their game. Epictetus advocated for that we concentrate on the things that are under our control. The only things that we have control over in conversations with narcissists are our own responses and the foundations upon which we base those responses. By making the decision to adhere to facts and logic, you are effectively disarming their attempts to manipulate how you feel emotionally. The interaction is being managed by us in a controlled approach. Not only does this prevent us from becoming entangled in emotional turmoil, but it also places the narcissist in a position where they are unfamiliar with the ground. It is common practice for narcissists to manipulate emotional narratives in order to further their own agenda. This power is taken away by an approach that is methodical and fact-based. The teachings of Seneca regarding the tranquility of the mind are also applicable in this context. He was of the opinion that the only way to achieve mental tranquility was to align ourselves with reason and virtue. In order to keep this tranquility when dealing with narcissists, we must not allow ourselves to become entangled in the emotional drama that they are experiencing. In spite of the narcissist's efforts to steer the conversation in a different direction, it is necessary to maintain a firm foundation in reality and good sense. In order to successfully implement this strategy, it is necessary to keep a clear and rational perspective throughout the interactions. This is about ensuring that you do not allow yourself to be influenced by the narcissist's attempts to manipulate your emotions. In its place, you respond with facts and logic, thereby ensuring that the conversation remains on level ground. It is possible for a narcissist to experience disorientation as a result of this, because it challenges their typical strategies of emotional manipulation and distortion. When it comes to dealing with narcissists, one of the most effective Stoic practices is to use logic and facts. Specifically, it is in agreement with the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, which emphasize the utilization of reason and the maintenance of control over what is within our power, which is our responses. This strategy not only assists in the management of interactions with narcissists, but it also helps us maintain our own mental clarity and peace of mind. You are encouraged to leave a comment below if you find this video to be helpful. The phrase "growing stronger with today's date" helps us reach more people than we would otherwise be able to. Strategy 4. Acknowledge authority. Because narcissists frequently have a difficult time accepting any form of authority or rules that are different from their own, this tactic is especially pertinent. Stoic philosophy, in particular the version that was advocated by Marcus Aurelius, places an emphasis on the significance of living in accordance with the natural world and the standards that have been established by society. As an emperor, Marcus Aurelius was aware of the importance of showing respect to those in positions of authority for the sake of the greater good. His belief was that there should be a balance between individual liberty and the obligations of society. In the context of dealing with narcissists, this means acknowledging and respecting the boundaries and rules that have been established by legitimate authorities. When you do this, you create a striking contrast to the narcissist's attitude toward authority, which is frequently defiant or dismissive. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was born into slavery, articulated the importance of recognizing the things that are within our control and those that are beyond it. In circumstances involving narcissists, this may entail acknowledging and respecting the rules and structures that are imposed by those in positions of authority or by institutions. A narcissist may be adamantly opposed to these, but if you are able to comprehend and acknowledge them, you will be in a position of power rather than weakness. Having this trait demonstrates that you are firmly rooted in reality and are not easily swayed by the narcissist's frequently skewed perception of power and control. In addition to being a Stoic thinker, Seneca emphasized the significance of leading a life that is characterized by virtue and reason. In his advocacy, he advocated for living in accordance with the laws and norms of society. You are demonstrating your dedication to a structured and rational way of life when you show respect for those in authority and when you follow the rules that society has established. There is frequently a conflict between the narcissist's view of being above or beyond such structures and the narcissist's commitment to living a life that is disciplined and principled. For the purpose of putting this tactic into practice, it is absolutely necessary to demonstrate respect for rules and authority in your interactions, particularly when those interactions involve a narcissist. In this context, it is not about blind obedience, but rather about demonstrating a grounded and rational approach to the structures of life. When narcissists engage in this behavior, it frequently causes them to become unstable because it goes against their inflated sense of self and their disregard for rules and norms. While dealing with narcissists, it is important to remember that Stoic principles are deeply rooted in the concept of respecting authority. It is consistent with the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, which emphasize the importance of living in harmony with the norms of society and respecting the structures that have been established. Not only does this approach create a contrast with the behavior of the narcissist, but it also strengthens your own position by demonstrating that you have a well-grounded and rational approach to dealing with the challenges that life presents. Strategy 5. Setting boundaries. A close alignment can be seen between this approach and Stoic philosophy, which places a strong emphasis on self-control, respect for others, and personal integrity. Marcus Aurelius, a proponent of Stoicism, emphasized the significance of establishing boundaries for oneself, not only in terms of actions but also in terms of thoughts and desires. He was a firm believer in the efficacy of self-control and having a disciplined personal life. In the context of dealing with narcissists, this means establishing and upholding clear boundaries regarding the kinds of behaviors that you will tolerate from other people. When you do this, you are demonstrating that you respect yourself and that you are not willing to be manipulated or controlled. As a result of his teachings on the dichotomy of control, Epictetus emphasized the importance of concentrating on what is within our control and letting go of what is not within our control. Establishing boundaries is an example of how this principle can be directly applied. It entails being aware of and asserting yourself regarding what you are able to tolerate and what you are not able to tolerate, which is under your control. The key is to make sure that these boundaries are communicated to the narcissist in a clear and concise manner and to maintain them regardless of how they react. Additionally, Seneca emphasized the significance of living one's life in a manner that is in harmony with both nature and reason. In circumstances in which your personal space, values, or well-being are in jeopardy, it is natural and reasonable to respond by establishing boundaries. At the same time that you should respect yourself, you should also expect others to respect you. The act of maintaining your own boundaries becomes an act of self-preservation and respect when confronted with the disregard for boundaries that a narcissist displays. In actuality, establishing boundaries with a narcissist entails being crystal clear about the kinds of behaviors that are acceptable and those that are not acceptable. The key is to maintain a firm and consistent stance. It is essential to maintain a firm stance on these boundaries, even if the narcissist attempts to test or push them. You could say something like, "I will not tolerate being spoken to in a disrespectful way," or "I need space, and I expect that to be respected." Keep in mind that narcissists may respond negatively to your boundaries. They may choose to ignore them, attempt to manipulate you, or even react with anger because of your boundaries. Regardless of this, it is essential to maintain a consistent stance. It is not enough to simply alter their behavior. You must also protect your own well-being and dignity in this situation. Stoic teachings, which were advocated by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, are deeply aligned with the practice of imposing boundaries with a narcissist. It requires exercising control over what is within your power, which includes your responses and the standards you set for behavior that is considered acceptable. You will be able to maintain a sense of self-respect in the face of challenging interactions if you do this because you will be honoring your values and integrity. Strategy 6. Defeat the handle. Stoicism, which provides valuable insights into dealing with difficult situations and people, is the source of this strategy, which has its roots in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius, who is famous for his Stoic writings, frequently discussed the nature of adversity and the significance of responding to it with grace and virtue. He held the belief that our character is not determined by the events that occur in our lives, but rather by how we react to those events. When dealing with a narcissist, it is essential to keep a level head and demonstrate empathy. This is especially true in circumstances in which the narcissist is confronted with defeat or frustration. Rather than getting caught up in their frequently dramatic and exaggerated responses, it is important to acknowledge the struggle that they are going through. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, emphasized the significance of distinguishing between the things that we are able to control and those that we are unable to control. In the context of a narcissist's response to defeat, it is essential to keep in mind that although we are unable to control the behavior or emotions of the narcissist, we are able to control our own response to our own feelings and behaviors. As an alternative to reacting with anger or frustration, we have the option of responding with understanding and detachment. We are able to protect our own mental health while also contributing to the de-escalation of the situation by taking this approach. Seneca, who wrote extensively about anger and emotional resilience, offers helpful insights for dealing with the intense reactions of narcissists. Seneca was a member of the Western philosophical tradition. It was his recommendation that we should avoid matching the anger of others with our own, as this would only result in more harm than good. When confronted with a narcissist who reacts to defeat with anger or resentment, it can be disarming to meet them with calmness and rationality. While it is important to avoid giving in to their emotional turmoil, it is also important to keep a sense of calm and reason. In the real world, when a narcissist is confronted with defeat, they may display behaviors such as denial, blame, or even aggression. At times like these, it is essential to keep a level head and not lose your composure. This does not mean that you ought to condone their behavior, rather. It means that you should not permit it to upset your emotional equilibrium. Through this action, you are able to demonstrate that their strategies do not have the ability to control your reactions, and you are able to maintain the upper hand in the interaction. To add insult to injury, it is of the utmost importance to demonstrate how to gracefully accept defeat. When compared to the narcissist's typically immature approach to dealing with situations of this nature, demonstrating that experiencing loss or facing setbacks is a natural part of life and can be approached with dignity and resilience is a particularly striking contrast. In order to deal with the reaction of a narcissist to defeat using Stoic principles, it is necessary to keep one's composure, to comprehend what is within one's control, and to respond with calmness and rationality. This approach, which is in line with the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, not only assists in the management of challenging circumstances, but it also strengthens our own character and emotional resilience. Strategy 7. Avoiding public humiliation. In order to successfully navigate this terrain, it is important to approach this delicate strategy with caution, and Stoic philosophy provides valuable guidance in this regard. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius frequently discussed the idea of reputation, as well as the way in which individuals are perceived by others. He was of the opinion that our true worth and character are not based on what other people think of us, but rather on the actions and intentions that we take ourselves. When taking into consideration the public exposure of a narcissist, this perspective is extremely important. The purpose of this is not to humiliate or damage their reputation for the sake of vengeance. Rather, it is to hold them accountable in a manner that is consistent with integrity and truth. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, emphasized the significance of concentrating on the things that are within our sphere of influence. When confronting a narcissist who is afraid of being exposed in public, it is essential to exercise control over our own actions and intentions, making certain that they are motivated by a desire for justice or the truth rather than by a desire to be spiteful. In order to accomplish this, it is necessary to give careful consideration to the repercussions of exposing a narcissist in public and to make certain that any actions taken are rational and ethical. The lessons that Seneca taught about anger and vengeance are also applicable in this situation. However, he cautioned against acting out of anger or seeking revenge because these feelings can cloud judgment and lead to actions that we may later come to regret. Bringing a narcissist into the public eye, particularly if done in a state of anger or without careful consideration, has the potential to escalate existing conflicts and result in unintended negative consequences. When it comes to dealing with a narcissist through public exposure, the goal should be to reveal the truth in circumstances where it is required for the sake of justice or protection. It is not about humiliating or defeating the narcissist, rather, it is about shedding light on facts that need to be addressed. It is of the utmost importance to make certain that this tactic is utilized in a prudent manner and not as a means of pursuing personal vendettas. In addition to this, it is essential to make preparations for the possible backlash. When confronted with public exposure, narcissists possess the potential to react in a hostile or vindictive manner. Not only is it essential to have a plan to manage these reactions, but it is also essential to ensure your own safety and well-being. Stoic principles, which were advocated by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, should be aligned with the utilization of public exposure as a strategy against narcissistic behavior. Having integrity in our actions, concentrating on the things that are under our control, and avoiding actions that are motivated by anger or revenge are all components of this. Taking this approach guarantees that any actions taken are fair, ethical, and take into account the broader implications for the narcissist as well as those who are impacted by their actions from a wider perspective. Strategy 8. Putting their superiority to the test. For this strategy to be successful, it is necessary to have a nuanced understanding of the mindset of the narcissist and to take an approach that is consistent with the Stoic principles of rationality and humility. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who is considered to be a model of Stoic virtue, frequently emphasized the significance of humility and becoming aware of our own limitations. The idea that we are all a component of a larger whole and that no one person is inherently superior to another was central to his worldview. When it comes to dealing with narcissists, this means challenging their inflated sense of self. This is not done through direct confrontation or insult, but rather by exemplifying the Stoic virtues of humility and rationality. Without resorting to direct conflict, this strategy subtly undermines the narcissist's grandiose self-perception rather than directly confronting them. Stoic teachers taught that we have the ability to choose how we react to situations and that we should not let the impressions we receive from the outside world disrupt our inner peace. When dealing with the superiority complex of a narcissist, it is essential to keep this inner peace and to avoid being provoked by the behavior of the narcissist. You are able to demonstrate that the narcissist's perceived superiority does not have any power over you by maintaining your composure and remaining unaffected. The fact that this goes against the narcissist's expectation of being treated with respect and admiration can be very disarming for them. Seneca, who was renowned for his practical wisdom, advocated how people should live their lives in accordance with nature and reason. When interacting with a narcissist, this means responding to their boasts or grandiose claims with composure and logic. In other words, this means maintaining a balance of emotions, engaging with them in a manner that is rooted in reality, and avoiding getting drawn into their distorted self-image is the key to effective communication. To accomplish this, it may be necessary to acknowledge their accomplishments without embellishing them, or to redirect the conversation to topics that are more grounded. In actuality, this tactic requires a delicate equilibrium to be maintained. When it comes to narcissists, it is not about undermining their accomplishments or their worth, rather, it is about avoiding feeding into their need for excessive admiration and validation. You are subtly challenging their sense of superiority by treating them in the same manner that you would treat any other person, which is to say with respect but without inappropriate reverence. It is essential to recognize that challenging a narcissist's sense of superiority should be done with caution, because it has the potential to elicit a powerful response from the individual. The objective is not to lessen their significance, rather, it is to infuse interactions with a sense of equilibrium and realism. In order to combat the narcissist's sense of superiority, it is necessary to embody the Stoic principles of humility and rationality as taught by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. The key is to respond to their grandiosity with composure and logic, to keep your inner peace, and to treat them with respect without showing them an excessive amount of admiration. The use of this strategy not only challenges the inflated self-image that they have, but it also strengthens your own resilience and emotional stability for yourself. Strategy 9. Maintaining mental clarity. Stoic philosophy, which places a strong emphasis on the importance of maintaining rational thought and emotional resilience, is the source of substantial inspiration for this strategy. Marcus Aurelius, a revered Stoic philosopher and emperor, frequently wrote about the power of the mind and our capacity to maintain control over our thoughts and perceptions. Many of his writings can be found available online. He was of the opinion that if we do not allow ourselves to be influenced by the world around us, our inner fortress is impregnable. In the context of dealing with narcissists, this means ensuring that you do not allow their manipulative strategies, such as love bombing or gaslighting, to cloud your judgment or alter your perception of reality. You can protect your sense of self and prevent the narcissist from distorting your reality if you keep your mind clear and unclouded. Another prominent Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, emphasized the significance of making a distinction between the things that we are able to control and the things that we are unable to control. Although you are unable to control the actions or strategies that narcissists employ in their interactions with you, you do have the ability to control how you interpret and react to them. It is of the utmost importance to have faith in your own judgment and to rely on your comprehension of the circumstance. By preserving this distinction, you are able to protect your mental clarity and prevent yourself from being influenced by the manipulative narratives that the narcissist presents to you. Additionally, Seneca's teachings offer valuable insights into how to deal with difficult emotional situations. He advocated for a life that was guided by reason, and cautioned against allowing one's temperament to be influenced by turbulent feelings. Maintaining a firm grasp on logic and reason is absolutely necessary when dealing with the emotional manipulation that a narcissist is capable of pulling off. Being aware of the strategies employed by the narcissist and making a deliberate decision to not allow them to undermine your perception of the truth are both necessary steps in this process. In order to maintain mental clarity when dealing with a narcissist, it is necessary to remind yourself of your beliefs, experiences, and values on a consistent basis. In order to prevent the narcissist from redefining your reality, it is important to reaffirm your own reality. In order to accomplish this, you might consider keeping a journal, seeking support from reliable friends or professionals, and participating in activities that help you feel more confident in who you are. Always keep in mind that the objective of a narcissist is frequently to undermine your self-assurance and cause you to question the truth. In accordance with the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, you can safeguard your psychological well-being and continue to be rooted in your truth if you keep your mind clear and have faith in your own judgment. In order to maintain mental clarity in the face of narcissistic manipulation, it is necessary to adhere to Stoic principles. The ability to maintain control over one's perceptions and emotions, to remain grounded in reason, and to trust one's own judgment are all required characteristics. Taking this approach not only helps you to combat the manipulative strategies employed by the narcissist, but it also helps you to strengthen your emotional resilience and trust in yourself. As we come to a close, it is important to keep in mind that your strength lies in your capacity to keep your truth and your peace in the face of manipulation and control. There is a possibility that narcissists will attempt to obscure your perception of reality, however. Just like a lighthouse that stands firm against the raging sea, your inner fortitude and clarity will lead you through this. Do not forget that you are not traveling alone on this path. I would like to extend an invitation to you to watch our specially curated playlist that is displayed on the screen if you found the conversation we had today to be beneficial, and if you are looking for additional strategies and insights to empower yourself when confronted with difficult circumstances. You will find a wealth of knowledge and useful advice in these videos, which are designed to assist you in navigating the intricate interactions that you will encounter throughout your life with grace and fortitude. Maintain your strength, keep your feet on the ground, and always keep in mind that your mental tranquility is your most valuable asset. I would like to express my gratitude for your presence and say that I may see you in the subsequent video.